Hi folks, Yanni Tokola here, your host of Wildlife Cake and Cocktails. Just a few quick notes before we get going. You can find the audio podcast on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. And of course, videos here on YouTube. Please like the channel below and follow the podcast on our social media pages to keep this WCC ball rolling. Our Patreon page will also be up shortly with some special content for you guys, so keep an eye out for that. Meanwhile, we've decided to serve up something a little different, covering fascinating wildlife and conservation research fresh off the publication line in what we're calling the WCC Apéritifs. So cheers and enjoy with these new short segments. We'll be back with some more full episodes very shortly. Hi folks, welcome to WCC Apéritifs. I'm here in the podcast basement with my cocktail for today, the monkey gland. It is actually a cocktail. I'm not down here like chewing on a pineal gland or something for all of my listeners to see. Can you hear that? Nice. Wow. It's gin, orange juice, grenadine, a little bit of simple syrup, and a little bit of absinthe. Fantastic drink. I've also got a tiny bit of cheesecake left because we've tried to record this thing so many times. I had to actually go get my laptop replaced because the fan was making an ungodly rattle, which we just could not record with. That's on top of that having been a new laptop to replace the old one, which died. But we're finally here. We're finally going, which I'm so happy about, to have my monkey gland and have our aperitif, because there's a fantastic new paper out from Lenda et al. So that's Lenda et al. 2020, Effects of Amusing Memes on Concern for Unappealing Species. So we're going to be talking about proboscis monkeys. And proboscis, obviously, from the name, they've got this crazy big nose, and they are considered particularly ugly. I think the BBC considered one of the world's ugliest animals. So I'm drinking my monkey gland, and I've got my last bit of cheesecake. And I really wanted to get this done because this paper is actually just being accepted for publication and undergone full peer review for conservation biology. I think first published on 29th of April. We're recording this on the 17th of May. And the full layout isn't out, but the researchers were nice enough to send me a full copy of the paper. So let's dive into this a little bit as well while I figure out how to do all of this new stuff here. Bear with me a little bit, guys. All right. So I'm going to bring up this paper here. You can see. There we go. So this is our new paper here that we're looking at in conservation biology from the Society of Conservation Biology. Fantastic paper. And we actually have it. Yeah. There we go. Let's scroll down. And as you can see, this is just the accepted manuscript. So we'll get straight down into, let's get straight down into the meat of this on I believe, where are we? Page 4. So people often show positive attitudes towards things that look similar to human infants, and particularly those with big heads and things like that. So the unfortunate thing with that is the majority of threatened species are unknown to the public or don't look like infants. And this is quoting directly here, the role of satire in saving species and habitats has been suggested, and there have been a few attempts to apply humor to promote so-called ugly species, such as the Ugly Animal Preservation Society. Nevertheless, evidence that humor in social media can be used to promote species and conservation is limited. So this kind of gets into the whole idea of aesthetics and emotions, right? Like, we often think of conservation kind of really towards fluffy, cute things, right? Koalas, pandas, things that a lot of the time are mammals, for example, or again, things that look infant-like and are very cute. Not so much thought goes towards, well, maybe a decent amount, but not as much gets directed towards ugly species or things that people consider dangerous and stuff. However, I guess, what about things that we just think are funny, like the proboscis monkey? Fantastic animal, Nassalis lavatus from Southeast Asia. Let's scroll down here. Excuse me. Oh, that monkey gland has got me. All right. So let's have a look. we've got the Proboscis monkey, voted in the British broadcasting company's ranking as one of the ugliest animals in the world. So not exactly the prettiest animal in the world, but you know, at the same time, it is on the IUCN Red List as endangered, with a total population decline of about 50% in the last 50 years through ongoing loss of habitat and hunting. I guess it's little known to the general audience of Poland prior to 2016, when some fairly amusing memes started to appear. So the authors here obviously examine the possible roles of memes in generating interest in unappealing species. In particular, the possible dissemination of conservation relevant info regarding threatened species via memes, and the association of increased interest in amusing themed memes with individual decisions to support conservation oriented crowdfunding decisions. So they're also looking at, you know, I guess, to see how much of a conservation bang that you get out of putting hilarious memes out for wildlife. Very, very cool paper. Let's quickly dive through some of the methods here. So they collected meme and search data from Google, Facebook, and media articles, all to be analyzed in the R Statistics Studio. They created a meme index, first of all, with a series of monthly time-restricted Google image searches representing the intensity of the meme generating process. So memes, if you follow a little bit of Richard Dawkins' writing, who I think kind of popularized the term, it's the idea of, I guess, the idea of ideas as genes in a population of brains, right? The human population has a huge number of brains, and ideas or concepts or certain solid ideas can be thought of as replicating from one to another with a certain amount of mutation. So there's some of these similar mathematics and concepts behind population biology or population genetics might apply to memes or ideas spreading throughout populations. So that meme generating intensity, they were, I guess, looking to see if things went up at a certain period of time, using a general additive model to estimate, there we go, temporal change in interest, so change over time. Let's move on down here a little. In Google Trends, they looked at the frequency of searches for the proboscis monkey compared to 5 popular species in crowdfunding. So that's macaques, orangutans, gorillas, and the big 2, pandas and koalas. They used some non-parametric correlation analyses to compare temporal change in relative interest in Poland, worldwide, and in the countries where the proboscis monkey, and I think these other species as well, are native. They use generalized linear mixed models to compare the number of search records for different species. Moving on down to some Facebook stuff. Here we go. There we go. They used Facebook for assessing the relative interest in amusing versus conservation-based NGO memes. So funny proboscis monkey memes versus straight up conservation and biological proboscis monkey memes. How do they compete? Who's more popular? And I guess compare those to straight up conservation pages as well. They analyzed the likes and shares and the emoticons love, haha, wow, sad, and angry, with some general linear modeling to check for the differences among 30 of the most recent photos or memes on amusing monkey profiles. They also analyzed the crowdfunding actions to see whether amusing proboscis monkey profiles promoted donating to the conservation of the species. Let's have a look for that here. I believe that's on, there we go. Crowdfunding actions related to the proboscis monkey conservation emerging from internet websites with amusing meme species. We recorded the date of publication and an organizer and whether amusing proboscis monkey profiles donated to the conservation of species. And let's just quickly jump down to the results and discussion. But I believe first we should have actually a quick look at some of these Polish proboscis monkey memes, because they're ridiculous and awesome, as you would expect. So for that, all we need to do is go to the supplementary materials here. All right, let's have a look. And scroll down to, I believe, page 4. We'll have the beginning of the proboscis monkey meme. So there you go. You can see that bottom one is a really great example of that ridiculous nose that they have. So this is obviously a father remembering when he was a younger, handsome lad. Look at that beautiful monkey. And, obviously this one, that I believe this was like the girl you want to date, her boyfriend, her father, her brother, and you, the horrible proboscis monkey. So yeah, this was I believe a father and son trying to fix the gas at home, because they're proboscis monkeys. They don't know high pressure gas piping and the dangers of flammable gases, and I don't know, smoking a cigarette in an enclosed space with flammable stuff in the air. So yeah, ridiculous, but very, very amazing and cool. Oh yeah, obviously, yeah, we're ripping on certain parts of Poland as looking like proboscis monkey faces as well. Let's scroll on down here. Do apologize for the slow scrolling here, people. There was another figure here that I wanted to have a look at. Here we go. So you can see here the kind of breakdown of what's popular. The red stuff on the left there is, funny memes of proboscis monkey. The middle ones, the green that are kind of, about the same, are straight up nature conservation, like WWF, World Wildlife Fund, right? So like major straight up nature conservation without a focus on proboscis monkeys. And on the bottom right, I believe those are the actual conservation of the proboscis monkey by itself. So without humor injected into the marketing of this animal, the profiles are not getting anywhere near as much attention, which is a fascinating result. So look, let's move on to the results and discussion here. So apparently the popularity increased in Poland after 2016 rather dramatically. Let's pop out this. I'll bring up another, and go back to the paper here. And scrolling down, I think we have some figures here at the bottom. One here that there we go. So you can see just after 2016, there's this massive spike in popularity. And apparently until then, there wasn't like a lot of funny proboscis monkey memes going around Poland. But apparently this correlated with interest in the social media memes and search volumes, and currently exceeds the interest in orangutans, gorillas, even koalas and pandas, which is a pretty amazing result. The interest is actually relatively low or constant in with English speakers and in countries where the animal is native. And that can seem kind of contradictory, right? You kind of think of conservation action as, we generally act local. We want to see the impact of our conservation dollar on our local endemic and native species. But this is kind of internet kind of throws that out the door a little bit. This means you can have charities from across the world working on a certain specific thing, right? If it's marketed right, the whole thing suggests that memes could be used to help gain attention and good marketing actions that could, come out of this to break those distance-related biases in donation decisions. Very, very cool. Again, the authors go on to say here as well on page 16, it's not just humor as well. There's, I guess, a few other factors such as intelligence and facism, right? The idea that, facism in terms of sexism, the men's photos usually show more of their faces, whereas women's normally show more of the body, face kind of being, I guess, a false equivalence for greater intelligence because we're showing their face and not their body, right? But a lot of these proboscis monkey memes are very face oriented because they have this big nose. So you're getting a lot of FaceTime with them, right? You're getting to know them a little bit. And there's also the zygonic effect, which is basically with the frequent media exposure to images of an ugly species, it can decrease subjective mental impressions of ugliness and induce sympathy towards that species. Very, very cool. You can see it right there. There's a zygonic effect. Interesting. I guess they go on to say here, many using many pictures of the species, mostly taken in native habitats in different poses of different sexes and ages and performing different types of behaviors and texts, creates a kind of continued story of a typical pole's life, where the proboscis monkey has become a kind of character. This is not usual for memes and could be a good example, not unusual, not usual? This is not usual for memes, and could be a good example of how storytelling can further conservation. And it did in fact inspire several like donation campaigns. I mean, they weren't huge, but they were spontaneous and amateur. You know, they were just produced because of these memes, because people wanted to promote the conservation of this animal. So professional collaboration and a bit of planning and direction, right? In that whole meme marketing of maybe some of the less desired animals could be awesome. It could be a really great way to drive conservation spending on donations. Really, really interesting. 3 practical outcomes that the authors recommend here. We'll scroll down here to page 18. Recommendations. Here we go. So provide easy access to meme-friendly visual content related to endangered species with good quality pictures, animations, and such to increase interest. What about like other platforms, right? There's plenty of other social media platforms that you could get on. Like what about my partner actually suggested me to this. What about a TikTok dance, right? For the proboscis monkey, the proboscis monkey TikTok. I'm not a good dancer. 2 left feet, spine attached to pelvis with extra bone. I'm not going to go into that. But I'm not going to create the proboscis monkey dance, but that doesn't mean somebody shouldn't. On to number 2, monitor worldwide interest in images of endangered species on social media, as local interest booms could result in gains of spontaneous small donations, perhaps using an automated algorithm. So maybe somebody sets up, you know, if you're at a certain conservation NGO, say for the platypus, set up a search algorithm or like a Google alert. And we're starting with maybe a Google alert, but you know, probably something a bit more sophisticated, I imagine, to let you know when there is a certain image that is trending for your species. And if it is, maybe try to jump on that, maybe try to push it, get that ball rolling even more with some funny memes, and see if you can up the conservation value. Number 3, provide trusted connections between donors and beneficiaries of conservation actions, even in distant parts of the world. Social media may be an appropriate solution for this. So, you know, obviously you do want your conservation not being funneled to somebody who's just making memes and then collecting the money. You want it to, you know, if they say that it's for conservation, you do want it going to conservation channels. So, awesome, right? Social media for good. The idea of using social media for conservation. Everybody can make memes. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people can make memes. It's not particularly hard to learn how to. There's plenty of meme generators online that you could, if you have a species of interest or something that you personally find fascinating or funny, make some memes, throw them up, see what happens. And I guess for conservation NGOs, it does provide a really interesting way to promote that species, promote its popularity, maybe try to drive that dollar up a little bit. Yeah, pretty cool. Last but not least, let's check out the Ugly Animal Preservation Society. Why not, right? Let's go here. And all right. Look at that blobfish. One of the coolest animals, obviously. But yeah, look, blobfish needs you. You know, everybody can you know, appreciate this beautiful creature. But yeah, look, there's plenty of maybe slightly less aesthetically pleasing animals out there that nonetheless do need our help and do have conservation value as well. So I guess that's pretty much it for now. Look, links to this paper will be down in the description below. Please, you know, check them out. Give them a like on Twitter. If the paper comes out, do share it. Have a read. It's fascinating stuff what these people do. Can't recommend it highly enough. This kind of mixture of like social science and economics and conservation biology. Very cool. So links will be down below. You can check out more WCC on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. Please click the like button down below and follow us on social media. We'll be back more with plenty of wildlife cake and cocktails action very, very soon. cheers. Thanks for joining us for this first aperitif. I didn't even get through this last bit of cheesecake because I've eaten so many trying to get this show up. But toast to the authors. Thanks again for sending the paper through. Really enjoyed reading it. And we'll see you again for some more WCC in the future. Cheers, guys.